Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Fawzia Khan, President of the American Muslim Women Association. I want to welcome all of you to our program on how to manage stress with Dr. Arjumand Warsy. So right now it is a little bit 4 minutes after 7. We're going to wait about 1 more minute and I'll introduce Dr. Warsy. So let's start the program. Mashallah, she has a lot of information that she wants to share with us on stress management. So let me introduce Dr. Arjumand Warsy. She has a PhD in biochemistry from Nottingham in a university in England. And she's a life relationship coaching center certificate from Mars Venus Coaching Institute in the United States. A life coach, gender intelligence coach, community worker, teacher, trainer, guider. She guides, mashallah, with her knowledge, a researcher and an author, a trained and experienced professional with over 4 decades of experience in teaching and guiding many individuals that are struggling with life, career, work-life imbalance. She has a great passion to help empower them with a success. And also at the end of the program, Sophie is going to be posting a link in the chat box. It's an evaluation form, so please fill out the evaluation. After you're completed, you will receive a call from Dr. Warsy. So Dr. Warsy, please take it away.
Thank you very
Assalamu
much.
Okay.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings of Allah be on all of you. I would very first like to thank Fawzia and of course AMWA for giving me this chance to speak to you on a subject which is very close to my heart. And I always feel that this is something that we all need to know. I must first apologize that I've had a very bad flu for the last almost 3 weeks, and my voice is still not completely recovered, but I was really praying that it would be good enough for me to talk to you today because of the invitation that we have been sending for several weeks. So I just hope that for the whole time, I will be able to talk to you. As Fawzia just mentioned, my name is Arjumand, and I'm very thankful to AMWA for having invited me. We'll talk about how to manage your stress and what are the differences that by which men and women cope with stress. This is me, Arjumand Warsy, with my certified coaching also. I have been a biochemist all these years, but throughout my career, I had a lot of opportunity to help a very large number of people to get over their stress, to become very positive people in their lives. And so then I did this certified coaching training from Mars Venus so as to pursue with this very great love of mine. And now I'm associated with a company known as Exponential, who are also a coaching company. This particular workshop was actually prepared by Mars and Venus Coaching Center, but of course we have modified it a lot. In fact, I would say that it is very much modified. It is presented in very large number of places by thousands of coaches and all over the world. And you see, it has been used as a very important workshop in helping how to reduce stress. We will talk about stress in this particular workshop today. I'll introduce you very briefly to what is stress. I think you all know what it is. And then we'll say your stress level, what is it today and where you want to be in future. That's very important. We'll briefly discuss causes of stress. And then we'll say what is the effect of stress on our lives, on our physiological state, on our body. We look at the differences between male and female, and then we'll be spending quite a bit of time on how to manage stress. I'll be using whatever information I have about how to manage your stress. This is the person, John Gray, on whose book we are relating this particular workshop, Why Mars and Venus Collide. He's the author of a book which I think many of you might have read, which is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. So this Mars and Venus actually relates to male and female, and we talk about a lot about what are the gender differences, what are the ways by which different genders are dealing with their stress in a different way. He's an author of a very large number of books, about 17 books, I think. And we look at stress. What is stress? Stress, as you know, is a feeling. And it is a feeling as if we are under an abnormal pressure. When we are under stress, we are under an abnormal pressure. This pressure comes from different aspects of our daily life. And the unfortunate thing is that once we are stressed, our mood, our strength, our immunity, in fact, our entire life becomes affected. It affects our family relationship, our progress in jobs, our relationship with others, our happiness, and we are under a state where we feel that we have a big stone lying on top of our head, like what you see in this particular picture. And the unfortunate thing is that we are looking around how to get rid of this stress, and it is not always very easy to get rid of it. So the very first thing that I will do in this particular workshop today is to see what is your stress level. Let us start this workshop by each and every one of you evaluating yourself and seeing what is your stress level. We usually give a value from 0 to 10, as you can see here, where 0 is considered as a perfect non-stress level and 10 is considered as an extremely high stress level. So now I will give you a poll in which you just tick a value which is your stress level, and this will help us to decide. And then we will see what stress level you would like to achieve. So you'll be seeing 2 different polls now, and I would like your answers because we will not know anybody's name, so you don't worry about that. And just you, I'm launching the poll now. So please, in this poll, you give down you answer my question, which is this: what is your stress level? Grade yourself between 1 and 10, because I did not want to have a very long table. I put the values as 1 to 2.5, 2.5 to 5.5, 5.5 to 8, and 8 to 10. This will be A, B, C, and D. So please value your stress level. We have about 12, 13 people in the class in this room today. So let us see, everybody give me an answer. I would be very happy to see more answers, and I will give you about a minute to answer this. You see, we always say you can't go where you want to go unless you know where you are. So if you have some stress level, then you want to reduce it, that is what we want to see. How much is your stress level? Sometimes we never think about our stress level, even though we are under a stress. So you see now what kind of you get a figure in which you see majority of the people have a stress level up to 5.5, and still we have some with 5.5 to 8, and then even from 8 to 10, there are some stress level. I'll show you share the result with you so you can have a look at the answers that I have received. And we will now go and do the second part of this poll, and which will be, what stress level do you want to achieve? So again, we are saying, what is the stress level that you would like to have? Again, same values are there. Just please re-answer the same poll, but the question is different. What stress level do you want to achieve? That would be the... And you see how, you will see in a minute, how the figure changes, how the figure, which was a peaking in the middle, how it has now changed to a figure which is peaking at the lowest level. This is what we all want. I'm going to share my result. So I share the results with you, and you see how everybody would like to have a stress level between 1 and 2.5. Actually, we can reach that value. And you will see by the end of this, I will be offering you a certain form in which you will fill down certain information, and then I'll give every individual who fills that form, I will give you a call for about half an hour, and we will discuss your individual stress values. We can't do that in a workshop like this because everybody's values and reasons for their stress are different. So let us go ahead with stress. What are the causes of stress in our life? Now, again, but this time I want you to write down in the chat box, in front of your screen, you see the chat. And on the chat box, please write, what are the cause of stress in your life? You open the chat box and you just put down, what is the value, what is the level, what is the cause of your stress? Is it some family relationship? Is it the job problem? Is it a problem with your health? Is it a problem with relationship with other people, and so on and so forth? This just gives us an idea to see what are the different reasons that in today's society we are facing. I'm going to give you a list of those without any problem, but let us see what are your stress problems due to. Too much to do and health problem. Very, very common reasons for stress nowadays. Health problems and too much to do. Anybody else, some other people would like to add some more points there before I move further? Balancing time. Time management is something which we are always faced with. Too much things to do. Relationship with each other, relationship with our spouses, with our children, with our friends, and of course the health problem, family problems. You see, these are some of the very important problems which are leading us to stress. Unfortunately, a lot of the stress comes from our work, the type of work that we are doing, work-related. I see majority of the people have written too much to do and too much work. So with this, I will go ahead and show you some of the other causes that I had picked up. A never-ending to-do list. We see ourselves in this particular situation very frequently. Too much to do, too many things, how to finish them. And that is where the time management also comes. A thing which you must be noticing a lot nowadays is a lot of unrealistic expectations. We are expected to do too much. A woman is expected to be the best wife in the house, or the best female person who's not only taking care of her house, but she's taking care of her work in a perfect manner. If she has children, then the children should be perfectly well taken care of. If she has a husband in the house, then her husband must be taken care of. The food is provided, the house is kept clean, and so on and so forth. The never-ending to-do list. Similarly with the men, now we see that a lot of unrealistic expectations are there for our men. We expect them to bring in monthly a certain good amount of money for running the house, which is very good. And this used to be the job of men until a few years ago, when they were only expected to bring the money and the house was just the responsibility of the women. But now there is a big changing role, and we see this all the time in our life. And they're also expected to do things in the house. We are, in fact, to be a superwoman and a superman. A man who comes home looking handsome and smart, bringing flowers for the wife, and a woman who is able to do everything in the most perfect way that she can. Superwoman, superman, causes of our stress. So a lot of common life stresses come in front of us. Job, job losses or job problems, problems with our business, problems with our family and relations. I have actually colored this point because we see a lot of the time that we are having problems, we are under stress because of our husbands or wives or children or parents and so on and so forth. And these are conditions which we can very easily guide each other to not bring in our lives. Changes in marital status, sudden trauma in our life, sudden loss of a loved one. These are some things which we cannot avoid. They happen and we have to deal with them. Financial hardship, of course, work stress, illness and injury, sometimes caring for a sick child or a sick aging family member. We have to worry about all that. And there are some of these stresses which are not unavoidable. We cannot avoid them. They are unavoidable. And others are avoidable, whereas some are unavoidable. And of course, there's always the problem of too much to do. So what happens with these stresses? Stresses are increasing as our age is increasing. We used to think that when I was a child, I thought that, oh, all the problems are due to studies. Once I finish my studies, everything will be fine. But that was not the case. Then I got married and I had children. And I used to think, oh my goodness, this is the most difficult time in my life when I have these little children changing their diapers, looking after their health, and so on and so forth. But then you realize that as the children grow older, the problems are also increasing. The stress is also increasing. You worry about their education, you worry about their jobs, you worry about their getting married, then you worry about their children, and so on and so forth. And this is just one aspect of our life. Similarly, we have the jobs, we have other problems, too much to do. And so we end up in a state when there is no sleep, we are very anxious, we have many, many bills to pay, we have social media to take care of, and our relationships are affected. We are always in a tight situation with money nowadays, with prices going up, with job scarcity, and so on and so forth. And then on top of all that, we have to maintain a certain life standard, a certain lifestyle. And you know what happens because of all these stresses? That our physiological changes take place in our body. Many physiological changes take place. We find in physiological changes that there are certain hormones that are increased. I would like you to introduce I'm sure you all know them, but just to bring forth these hormones, there are two special hormones which are referred to as the stress response hormone, cortisol and adrenaline. Both of these hormones are secreted from a small gland on top of our kidney known as the adrenal gland. Cortisol is also secreted and adrenaline also from other tissues also, but we are getting quite a large amount from the adrenal gland. Both of these hormones, and we will look at each one of them separately. Cortisol, what it does, it is secreted, as I told you, from the adrenal gland, and it affects majority of the tissues in our body. It has effect on bones, on adipose tissue, on the liver, on muscle, on our metabolism, and so on and so forth. And one of the things that cortisol does is that it decreases our immunity. As it decreases our immunity, we become very prone to get different type of illnesses. We keep falling sick due to flus and colds and so on. And we have an effect on our digestive system, even our reproductive system, even our growth process. And on the digestive system, what happens is that in some people, it shuts down our digestive system. We don't want to eat. Whereas others, they eat more under stress. In fact, they start to gain weight. And that is also an effect of stress, that the more stress we have, the more increase in our weight. Adrenaline, the second hormone, is a water-soluble hormone, and it is referred to as a flight or fight response. What happens is, you see this big mammoth here, that whenever a person is faced with a sudden danger, we tend to run away. We have an ability in our body that makes us flight, to make us run away from danger or to fight back. And that is the effect of adrenaline. It increases blood flow to our muscles, so we would be running fast. It even increases our heart rate. It increases our blood sugar, so that the body gets enough energy in order to do both fight and flight responses. At one time, and why this has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that whenever a person had stress, like in the Stone Age or even a lot later on, the stresses were few, and the stress would come, it would be an acute stress, and then it would go away, right? So what would happen was that the stress hormones would suddenly increase, and a person would be feeling a lot under stress. But then as soon as the stress was removed, the mammoth ran away, or we ran away from the mammoth, everything would come back to normal. So our body was prepared in such a way that it could deal with an acute stress, and then it would be normalized and the body would become normal. But what about this present day and the challenges and the stresses that are there? They are not going away so easily. They are there. They are causing a chronic stress. And as a result of this chronic stress, which is there all the time, maybe there are a little bit of ups and downs in it, but we still feel that they're not going away from our life. So because of this, we are under a state of constant stress. And this constant stress is something which brings about many health problems. We have many anger issues, anxiety, depression. Some people suffer very frequently from headaches, from pain in their body, from sleep problems, other problems. And these lead to more complications, such as digestive problems, like we said, weight gain. Now, it's easy to say that we are just gaining weight, but we know that weight gain is then associated with other problems, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, heart diseases, and then as you go on, the list does not end. More complications, even leading to stroke or paralysis or heart attack or even death. So the chronic stress is something that we need to avoid. We need to get into the ability to deal with the stress. Chronic stress also influences our family dynamics. We get spoiled relationship. Many marriages, many relationships, they end with separation, they end with divorce. The effect on the children are tremendous, right? So these are the things that we can really control if we know what to do. I've had so many people in my life that I have coached who have said to me, I wish we knew this thing earlier. It would not have made us take certain decisions which led to so much disaster in our life. And this is what we need to learn. We need to learn very early in our life how to deal with our stress so that it does not end up in such a terrible thing like a divorce or a broken family with broken children or completely broken relations, and so on and so forth. All these things are leading to stress and more stress. This more stress is something which is now becoming a great challenge in front of us. And this whole workshop is based on how to manage the stress. How we have our hands open up. How do we manage this thing? It is a problem for all of us. What do we do? Is it in our power to get rid of all the stress? Some of the stresses that I just pointed out to you, some of them, yes, we can get rid of them easily. Some of them are in our control. There are others which are not in our control. If we lose our family member, if we lose somebody we love, if we lose a child, if we lose, our health. So there are many stresses that are not in our hands to be managed, to be controlled. So in that case, we cannot stop the stresses. The stresses will be there, but we need to learn to manage the stresses. How can we manage these problems? How can we deal with these problems? And you know something, human beings and the ability that Allah has given them, they are so strong that they have the ability to cope up with so many different difficult things. They just need to train themselves. They can become very positive, very active, very successful people if they just need how to deal with this. And this I have seen in my life throughout with so many people, that people who had given up all hope, they had completely given up. They thought they cannot do anything except just stay in the bed. And other than that, they are not good for anything. They become very positive people. What we say is that we want people to become victors in their life. We don't want them to be victim. Victims are somebody, and I'll show you at the end of this presentation, who is a victim and who is a victor. Now you just remember that we want everybody to become a victim in their life. You are an important person. You have a role in this life. You were created and you were born, you were given birth in this life, in this world, to do something. You have to remember this, that you are a very, very important person. And when you start to give that importance to yourself, you start to look at your stresses and you start to deal with them and manage them in a much better way. I went through a lot of expert advices that they give on how to manage stress. And these are some of them that I listed for you. There were a lot more. I did only put down some of them, like Mental Health Foundation and the American Heart Association and so on. And the advices were what? Keep a positive attitude, accept that there are events that you cannot control, manage your time, make time for hobbies and interests, set realistic goal expectations, which are all fine. They're very important. Do some relaxation, do exercise daily, have some me time. And this is what we say when you start to give importance to yourself, when you start to see that you are a victor, not a victim, you start to look at a me time. Have healthy eating, get good sleep, talk to some people, make a good, this communication, interestingly, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, that we can communicate to each other. This is a very, very important thing in helping us to reduce our stress. And of course, listen to music, hypnosis, and so on and so forth. So there are lots of ways that are given by different experts on how to manage your stress. The unfortunate thing is that not many times we are given the methodology to do them, how to do them. And this is what I will tell you at the end about how to do them. We see some very important research. And from this research, we have come across these two facts, that men and women, they cope with their stress differently. Many of us have gone through our life and we did not know this. But had we known this, this would have specially affected our relationship with our spouses or our friends in a very nice way. And our differences are intensified when we are under stress, because we don't know for each other how to deal with each other's stress. So let me just tell you something. And uh, little play, I would say, I would need to have one of you who will become a Venus, and one of you who would take the part of a Mars. Can somebody please raise your hand who would like to be a Venus and who would like to be Mars? Don't be shy. It's just a very simple thing. Something the Venus will say and the Mars will answer. Can I have two people, please? Anybody? Otherwise, I'll just have to ask some of you to do it. Right? We have, Alhamdulillah, we have Ola has raised her hand. Thank you so much, Ola. Lovely to see you. Is there anybody else who would take a part with Ola? Sophia, are you there? Can you do that?
Yes,
I can do it,
that.
Baji.
Sorry, my hands were not raising. I can do it.
Oh, yes. Who's that? Who is that? Is that, can you
Sophia.
give me,
Sophia, I can do it.
somebody else said, yeah, I can do that?
Oh, Fozia.
Oh, Fozia is Fozia. That's very good. Okay. So we'll have Fozia and we have Ola. So Fozia, can you be the Venus? And Ola, can you be the Mars? And this is what Fozia has to read now. So Fozia, what you read, what is in front of you? Can you?
I have to juggle so many things, and he doesn't seem to care or even help or even want to help.
Isn't that the case? We often have this kind of a complaint with our partners, with our spouses. And okay, now, Ola, what is the complaint of Mars?
When I offer to help, she always finds something wrong in my suggestions. Why bother?
Another thing, you see, the husband comes saying, can I do something for you? And the wife says, no, not at all. So we have one thing. What about the Venus? Another complaint from Venus?
We both go to work. When we get home, why doesn't he pitch in and help more?
Very true, right? We always feel that nobody is helping us. What about Mars complaint?
She always finds something new to complain about.
So again, another thing, right? We have a couple more, so not too many more, but just two more. Yes, Fozia?
We
Yes,
never
Venus?
have time for romance anymore. He is either working, watching TV, gone, or sleeping.
Isn't that correct? I think a lot of you who are here, you'll probably agree with me. What about Mars?
When I'm in the mood, she's either too tired or overwhelmed with too many other things.
You see, so that does happen. I think many of you will say, yes, that is what is happening in our life. Yes, Venus?
He sits in front of the TV while I do everything. I am not his personal maid.
Yes, that's true.
She wants everything done right now. Why can't she just relax?
Yes. So these are some of the things which have led the people who are doing research, they have come out with some very interesting findings. And I'll tell you those findings. They have found out that there are differences in males and females in how they respond to stress. And what have they found out? They have found out that this whole difference is actually coming from certain parts of our brain. The male and female, their brains respond to stress in a different way. In men, stress increased blood flow. There is an increase of blood flow under the response of stress to the left orbitofrontal cortex. On the left side, this front part, it is known as the front orbitofrontal cortex, which leads to activation of flight and fight response. So in the men, this particular part becomes very activated. And as we told you, as a result of this fight and flight response, they are ready to, run away or ready to fight. They get this type of a response as as stress increases in their life. Whereas for Venus, what happens? In women, stress activates a region which is known as the limbic region in the brain. It's more higher up here, which is associated with an emotional response. So she becomes emotionally disturbed. She is more needing somebody to help her emotions be soothed out. In a female, you'll often see that when she's under stress, she likes to talk about it. She wants to share about it. She will phone somebody. She will tell them what is happening. She will even connect to a lot of other people, and she will be crying out for help. She needs somebody to support her. She needs somebody there to put her head on his or her shoulders. And this is what she needs. She needs to feel that she is wanted. She needs to feel that she has got somebody to support her. But if she does not find anybody, that her stress keeps on increasing. This is the male response, a female's response. And what is the male response? Male, as we said, he becomes ready to fight. Male, as I told you, he wants to run away. He will pick up his machines. He'll pick up his computers. He'll pick up his TV, and he will get himself in a state where he cuts off from everything else which is causing his stress. We say that what man does is to go into his cave. He will hide away in his cave. And when you leave him, the best thing they say, research has shown that when a man is under stress, the best thing to do is to leave him to do what he wants to do, rather than to keep asking, what are you doing? How are you feeling? Why do you look like this? Or why do you want to behave like this? Instead of that, you have to just leave them. And this, in fact, is one of the big books of John Gray, Mars Venus Collide. This is something which is very nicely discussed in this book in a lot of detail, that the gender cope with stress can actually increase stress in the opposite sexes. The men, when they get angry, they leave their wives. They don't know if the wife is also under stress. They don't know at that particular time that the wife needs them. She needs some support, so they go away. And when you say to a woman, okay, forget about it, slow down, keep calm, take it easy, enjoy life, she becomes even more stressed. She becomes, don't worry. Saying when a woman is under stress, saying to her at that time, don't worry, will increase her stress a lot more. Another interesting finding in the male and female is that physiological mechanisms that reduce stress in male and female are different. What are these differences? Let me tell you. Again, they come to hormonal changes. You see, these hormones, they're produced in our body in a very, very small amount, but they do a lot in our body. There are two particular hormones, testosterone, which is more of a male hormone, and oxytocin, which is more of a female hormone. It used to be referred to as the loving and the nurturing hormone. It is secreted in a woman more when she is at the time when she is feeding her baby. As testosterone peaks in the morning, it is depleted throughout the day, and needs time to recover. It is testosterone which decreases stress in a man. So you see, in the morning, the men are least under stress, but during the day, their stress keeps on increasing, and they need to stimulate their testosterone. How do they stimulate their testosterone? If what they are doing or what they're anticipating is successful, for example, there is a relationship and that is a successful relationship, their testosterone will go up very high. If the wife is happy with them, their testosterone will go up very high. Another thing which helps their testosterone to increase is when they are engaged in less challenging activities, such as watching TV, such as reading, such as taking a nap, or just going away into their cave and forgetting the problem, even if it is momentarily. So sometimes when we are under stress, you might have seen this, that if you are having a quarrel with your husband and he might go away and disappear for a certain amount of time. This is the reason why he's gone, because his body is trying to activate his testosterone to a higher level in order for him to calm down, and then he will be back to normal and he will be back there. So leaving a man alone is sometimes the best way to support him. This is one of the best ways by which we can support the male in our life. All the male, whether it is our husbands or friends or sons or children or fathers, whoever they are, the best way is that whenever they are stressed out, give them time for themselves. On the other hand, in a female, the oxytocin is what reduces stress. The oxytocin also reduces blood pressure. It also reduces cortisol level. It also reduces fear in the women. It gives her a feeling of attachment. It increases what we call the maternal behavior. It even increases sexual interest. And as a result of increase in oxytocin, her stress level decreases. Oxytocin is a very complex looking structure, as you can see in this particular figure. And it decreases under these conditions. When a woman feels that she is all alone, when she is ignored, when she is not supported by somebody, even if she does something which is not very good, for example, she cooks a food and the husband says, oh, even if he just praises, it's nice, she gets a lot of support from it. On the other hand, ignoring her, thinking that she's showing her that she is not an important person, making her or rushing her through things or overwhelming her with too much work, this is when her oxytocin is decreased. So scientists have put forward a very large list of different things which would help to increase testosterone. Oxytocin. Oxytocin increases with trust, anticipation of needs being met, including a simple hug, a simple conversation, show of support. These are some of the things which will increase the oxytocin. Simply caring for a woman, simply helping her, sharing her, befriending her without expectations, that is when she feels the most helpful. If you come home and bring one single flower for her, she'll be excited, she'll be very helpful. And in increasing when nurturing self. So a woman needs to take care of herself, and that is something very important. This is one thing we as women fail to do. We do not take care of ourselves. We will take care of everybody around us, but we will not take care of ourselves. We must remember this little saying that men need to feel needed and women need to feel they are not alone. When the men feel that they are needed, their stress level will decrease. You see, outside stresses are there. Some of these outside stresses we cannot control, but inside the house, we can help to decrease the stress level by making the men feel needed. He's there, whatever he's doing, whatever he's earning. Once he feels needed, he will be there for you and he will be doing a lot more better things than what you expect him to do. And women have to be made to go with this feeling that they are never alone. They're always there. As I was telling you, we, whether men or women, whether Venus or Mars, they all have to be in a state of victor. We teach in our coaching that you have to learn to become a victor. You have to learn that you are somebody important. Every single person is a very important person. And we make people remember this. If you have lost someone, if you have lost something, don't make yourself a victim. You are still a victor. You have something to do in this world. You have something to do which is very important. And it is, we try to bring people out of this victor, being a victim, when they start to blame others. I will just please close the mics, or Fozia, if you can do that, please close the mics because we are getting some noise. So you see, victim is what? Victim is a person who finds somebody to blame all the time. Excuse me. Will unmute myself. Thank you. So he will find or she will find excuses to blame somebody. Always saying, this thing happens because of so-and-so. This thing happens because so-and-so did this. She's always finding excuses. She's always, or he's always in a state of denial. I didn't do this. I'm a victim of something. Whereas a victor is somebody who takes responsibility, ownership, accountability. And this is what we want all the individuals to become. We, in our coaching, help people to become victors. And it is something that we train them to become. We talk them out of it, and they become excellent victors. Once a person is a victor, he thinks of himself at a higher level, and then you find that his whole attitude to life changes. The normal stuff we say for managing our stress is that you manage your time. So you learn time management. You exercise regularly. You take care of yourself. Try to get adequate sleep. Eat healthy. Be very assertive in everything. And live for now, not live for the past, which a lot of the people do. They're under stress because they're always thinking of what happened in the past. They're always living in the past. And there are other people who always think of the future. I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to become this and I want to become that. That's very good, but do it by taking care of the present. And this is where I will give you, because I think majority of the people in my class today are the females. I have given you what the men should do. Will also tell you what the females should do to fill their oxytocin tank. Very interestingly, 90% of the oxytocin tank can be filled by a woman by herself. And this is what you must need to learn yourself, because this will help you to reduce your stress level, no matter where the stress is coming from. This will help you to become a stronger person, a victor in order to deal with all kinds of stresses. Do something nice for yourself. Of course, you're always doing something nice for others. At the same time, do something nice for yourself. Go and buy yourself a nice pair of shoes, or a nice lipstick, or do yourself a nice makeup, or whatever. Plan some occasion. You must have seen that when you are planning a party, your stress level is very low. You're very happy to do the different things. Even remember to ask for help. You see, we always think that we can do everything ourselves. And this is where we are wrong. This is one of the causes of our stress. Our oxytocin level will increase a lot if we will ask help. Go for a walk, talk to people, make something or grow something, create a have done list. Instead of having a to-do list, have a have done list. And this will make you very happy. This will make your oxytocin increase as you see what you have already done. Reach out to friends. Friends are very important. Only 10% of your oxytocin tank can be filled by him. If we have a him in our life, then that him can fill our 10% only. Many of us, including me, we don't have that kind of a him in our life. I do have a son, I do have a son-in-law, I do have my grandsons, but and that's what makes me happy. But if we have a partner, if he hugs you a few times a day, this is very important for oxytocin. Even if your children hug you, even if your son hugs you, leave a note to say that you miss her. Take her on a date. Give her a flower. Take notice of her. Listen to her. Compliment her. This is what a partner in our life can do for us, and this way he can fill our oxytocin tank a lot. But it only makes 10% of our tank. Remember that for every Venus, we must remember that 90% of the tank has to be filled by the Venus herself. Give her some me time. Me time is excellent for all of us. What is me time? Me time is when you take a certain amount of time on daily basis and say, this is just my time. I will do what I want to do. If I want to sleep or read or do nothing, I'm just going to have this me time. Think about what you need to do, whatever. So this is your me time, and make sure that you have your me time in your life. Help her without being asked. How many of our male partners do that? I do hope we have some men in this program, and I do hope that they are reading this, and I do hope that this will affect their family lives. This was a slide I showed you before. I don't want to show, or I don't want to go over it again, but I only want to tell you that, as I said in the beginning, that the different experts, they give us an advice of what to do to manage our stress, but they do not tell us how to do it. We, as coaches, that's what we want to do. Some questions which have been very frequently asked from me are, can I really reduce the stress in my life? Can I find the work-life balance that I desire? Can I find the purpose and meaning of my life? Can I rediscover my passion? Can I improve the quality of my relationship? Can I improve my status in my job? Can I get rid of all these stresses that I have? And really, my answer is always yes. Yes, we can do it. Yes, you have to work a little bit on it. Yes, you can get rid of all your stresses. But the first thing that you need to remember is you need to know where is your stress level. And as I showed you, as we started with this workshop, I gave you that quiz or that poll, and it showed you what maybe you thought for it today. What is my stress level? So now you know where are you standing. Whenever you go to a supermarket, and whenever you go to a mall, what do you see? It will show you, there will be a map to tell you where you are. Because once you know where you are, then you know where to go. If you need to go to a shop in this particular corner, it will show you the way to go to that particular corner. So if you can't go where you want to go unless you know where you are. And with this little saying, I will finish my workshop. But for those of you who attended the workshop today, we have a little bonus or a little gift, as you may call it. We will give you a free evaluation call with a certified Mars Venus coach. And this is the form that we have shared with you. Sophia has shared this form with you in the chat box. Please click on the form, and it will take you less than like 4 minutes or 3 minutes to fill up this form. Please fill it up and just send it. There is, you only have, on the form it says send, so you just send it, or you can even fill it afterwards, and I will give it to Fawzia. She can send it on your emails. You can send it afterwards, but I would be happy if you would do it right now. And whoever will fill this form, I will give them, I will take time from them, and then I will give them a complimentary call to discuss their particular stresses. What stress? Because each and every one of you who's here in this room, including me, the cause of our stresses are different. So the way we deal with them are also different. So I will try to give you what this form we call a pre-diagnostic form. It is a very simple form. It will not come out like this because it is in the form of a Google chart. But these are the questions you will have. We'll ask you to score yourself between 1 and 10, where 1 is the lowest and 10 is the highest in all these things. For communication, what is your score for yourself? For friendship, you have many friends or not? Motivating, passion, enthusiasm. So you just put down a number on this and you resend us the form. And in this way, what will happen that we will be answering you back and I will be talking to you. And thank you so much for being such patient and such attentive participants. And I hope you made got some interesting information from this workshop. Please, let's stay in touch. Thank you for being there. Thanks and shukran and all the other ways of saying shukriya. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. I will finish. So please do answer the link. If you want to, please stay there. We will keep, Fawzia will keep the meeting going on for another few minutes till everybody who would like to fill the form, they will fill it and submit it. Thank you so much. If there is anybody who has a question, yeah.
Dr. Warsy, we have about a few more minutes. I have the link up. Anyone that's interested, please fill out the link so you can get a free stress level form filled out, and you'll get a call from Dr. Warsy to explain what is going on with you, inshallah. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and we have a few minutes. We can do a Q&A. Any questions, anybody? I see one hand.
Yeah, Ola. Yes, nice to. Thank you so much for being Venus, Ola. I loved it. So.
No, I guess what I'd like to ask a question is, sometimes we react, and you're right, we don't know how the other, like, men think differently, their brains are differently. Women are multitasking, like I didn't, and men are not. I didn't know that until I got married, because we're always like kind of doing multiple things at once. And I remember, my husband's like, I can't do more than one thing at a time. I'm like, what? So those are things that sometimes we don't know, when we first get married. But as we've been married for a long time, you're right, men do handle their stress differently, and they need to go to their cave or whatever. And everybody manages their stress in different ways. But I think it's the the way kind of way maybe we react to each other, that could be sometimes more polite and not so reactionary. And I think that's question about, like, how could we improve on that?
Yes, this is such an important thing. And I think, what you said is very true. I've had so many families that I have been taking care of, where the relationship was almost finishing. And then, now they are all back to normal. And every time a person has said exactly the same thing. I wish I knew this at the beginning when we just got married. We would never have had so many problems. So I think there is a need for us to educate our young girls who are just getting married, and to tell them what are the things which are so important for them to do when they are newlyweds with their husbands and so on. So once they know that, then their lives will be improved. Believe me, I've just recently been coaching a brother, two sister-in-laws. They're both married to two brothers, and the terrible relationship in their family was so bad that nobody wanted to talk to one another. But even just after a couple of sessions with them, they are now, back to the same sort of a family relationship that should be there. And every time they say the same thing: we wish we knew this before. We wish we knew this before. So I think that, what we lack a lot is that our mothers did not know this, and they did not teach the girls or their sons also. Not only the girls, it's also the husband, both the men and the women. They need to be guided from the very beginning as to how to start your married life, how to, what you have to take care about, what you have to ignore, where you don't have to react, where you have to go and do something else. And, in our religion, of course, a lot of importance is given to the fact that we must never get angry. In fact, we have been said that a stronger person is not one who is strong in his body, but a stronger person is one who holds his anger. And this is what we need to teach our people. And I very much agree with you that unfortunately, many families are broken because of our ignorance. And had it not been, to that extent, maybe they will still be together. Because a lot of people, after they separate, they do regret this fact that they have separated. Because then they start to realize life is not easy. There are many problems in life, and we need to. So I will be doing some more workshops on how to improve relationships, and especially for the younger people. I'm doing one for people, but that is in my country, in Pakistan, for people who are just getting married. And I want to do a similar one here for people who are just getting married. Yes.
Thank you,
so much.
thank you, Dr. Warsy. We will look out for that workshop, inshallah.
Inshallah.
I want to thank everyone that attended. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. And I want to thank everyone that attended today's program. for tonight's information program with Dr. Arjumand Warsy. If you have any questions, email and mail at amwa.us, and we will forward it to Dr. Warsy and to have your answers for your questions. Don't forget to fill out the form that we have on up there for the Google Doc, and to receive a free evaluation and a call by Dr. Warsy also.
Fozia, can I interrupt you for a minute? Sorry.
Sure.
Can you send this form on their emails, please?
Absolutely, I can do that. I can get
Yeah.
the link and send it. Everyone that registered, I can forward them a link. Maybe
Yeah.
that might be easier if I forward everyone, have the link forward to everyone that registered, and they can do it on their time.
On the time. That
Yes.
would be very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for mentioning that, mashallah. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and good night. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Fozia, for inviting me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
I'll
so
see
much.
you again. Hopefully.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you.